For the basics, you want band-aids, painkillers, the good stuff. You want gauze, medical tape, and other common first aid supplies. Your medic should have a more thorough kit on him. A winter face mask. This is if you live in a place that gets cold weather. A winter cap, and you want this for the same reason as the winter face mask. A scarf. Regardless of whether you live in a cold weather place or not, a scarf can be used to tie off wounds. It can be cut into strips and used as cordage in a pinch, and you can choke a motherfucker out with it. And you can also bunch it up and use it as a pillow. Face mask. Why do you need a face mask? Because it fucking looks cool. Now all these fabrics that I've mentioned can be used to pad your rucksack. So with the gloves and the face mask and all those other things, you can use that as padding, because you want to keep things from jingling around and making noise. For this reason you want to pack shit tight, but also because you're going to have to fit a lot of shit into a small space. I've got everything you can imagine packed into my rucksack, including naked pictures of your mom. Good for morale in a pinch. Combat boots. Get some quality boots and break them in. If you're a vegan or vegetarian, go to mooshoes.com. They have excellent, high-quality, non-leather boots for pissed-off American freedom fighters that want to shoot commies without supporting the cocksuckers in factory farming. Extra socks and boxer briefs. The socks are obvious. A soldier must take care of his feet. As for the boxer briefs, if you bring whitey-tighties to the battlefield, I will shoot you in the nuts. But seriously, pissing and shitting yourself happens. It's a natural human reaction to bullets flying over your head. So bring some extra skivvies. And collapsible shovel. This is good if you have to bury something important, plant an explosive, or dig a trench. You can also hit some poor SOB over the head with it. Small axe or tomahawk. This is good for chopping wood and has other useful functions like splitting motherfuckers' heads wide open. Wire. You want a spool of wire for trapping non-human animals. You can make wire snares out of them if your axe gets caught up in the woods and runs out of food. Wire is also good for making traps for killing human animals as well. Also, in a pinch, you can use it to choke a motherfucker out. Heavy-duty black garbage bags. These can be used to haul water. You can put leaves inside them and use them as warm blankets or padding on the ground. You can also use them as waterproofing for makeshift wilderness shelter. You can also tear a head-sized hole in the bottom end of the bag and then pull it over yourself and use it as a poncho if it's raining. A handgun. In urban combat, a small firearm is useful when working in confined spaces, such as an assassination operation inside of a building. A $400 9mm handgun will do just fine. AR-15 or AK-47. The AR-15 is the optimal choice for a Patriot's assault rifle, but the ticket price can be quite hefty. The AK-47, on the other hand, can be found for as little as $200 or $300. A map of your city. The map will help you find your bearings if you get caught up in a neighborhood that you're unfamiliar with. It will also be helpful in planning operations. And now, this is important. You do not mark down friendly locations or safe houses or bases of operation or Patriot supply locations on your map. Do not make any such markings on your map, just in case the map falls into enemy hands. You don't want to fuck over your fellow Patriots. And remember, if you are captured by the enemy in an interrogation situation, the words, "bend over and I'll show ya," can answer any question. For instance, what is your name, freedom fighter? Bend over and I'll show you. Where is your base of operations? Bend over and I'll show you. Where are you keeping your weapons? Bend over and I'll show you. U.S. map. A map of the entire United States and the highway system and so forth is so that if you have to flee your city for whatever reason, you'll have some bearings as to where you need to go and where you are. It's also for understanding what is taking place when things are announced over Patriot communications. If they say that something happened in some town, some bumfuck town, you can look it up on your map, you can see where things are taking place at. A compass. This one's pretty obvious. A machete. This could be useful in thick brush or if you have to chop some motherfucker up. Wind-up flashlight or regular flashlight. Either way, you need a flashlight. Military flashlights come with special lenses so you can signal your buddies. For instance, you could say that You'll flash 3 times with the red lens when it's time to open fire on these sons of bitches. Wind-up radio. That's for listening to mainstream media communications, but keep in mind that plenty of disinformation would be going across the airwaves. For instance, they might broadcast that American resistors in Pittsburgh have all been captured, when in fact that isn't true. They just want you to think it's true, so that way you will lose confidence in your fellow American patriots and so forth. A watch. It's always good to know what time it is. Nutrition bars. Since these are small, you can shove them throughout your gear once you start to run out of room for larger packs of food. A pad of paper. This is for taking notes, drawing maps of enemy installations, and writing your last will and testament. A pen and pencil. Of course, you need something to write with, but if you're hard up, you can also shove it through some poor bastard's eye socket, stick it in his jugular, or cram it in his ear. Tampon. This isn't for your girlfriend. You can use the light material as tinder for starting fires. Bouillon cubes. This is for adding some flavor to water once your ass starts to run out of food. It'll keep your morale up. Just don't get the ones with the MSG. Third generation night vision. If you're going to purchase night vision goggles or a night vision scope of any kind, make sure to get third generation technology. Everything else is shit. Pistol holster. That's for your gun. Level 3 body armor. You can get level 3 body armor from eBay for anywhere between $200 and $300. Toilet paper. Nature calls, but you don't have to take a whole roll with you unless you have room for it. Take at least a half a roll though. Electrical tape. This is for silencing equipment so that it doesn't clank around, or it has other common uses. Duct tape. The uses for duct tape are too numerous to count. 2 uses which immediately come to mind. You can use it to keep a prisoner silent, and if you keep shitting your pants every time someone shoots in your general direction, you can duct tape your butt cheeks together. Long johns. People often neglect to keep their legs warm. We always layer the top portion of our body, but we forget about our legs. So put some long johns in your rucksack, especially if you're not carrying a blanket or a sleeping bag. Lighters and matches. You can never have enough lighters and matches. Waterproof match holder. These little doodads are great for keeping your matches dry. Flint and steel. You can never have enough ways to make fire. Veteran survivalists will tell you that you should have 2 or 3 ways to make fire on you. Knives. You should be carrying at least 1 knife for combat purposes and 3 or 4 other knives just because you can never have enough knives. And in a pinch, if somebody joins your assault team and doesn't have a weapon, you can hand them a knife. Black or dark rope. This is for tying stuff down, making booby traps, and also for making shelters. And in a pinch, you can choke a motherfucker out with it, or string some son of a bitch politician up for being a treasonous bastard. Roll of string or twine. Pretty much for the same reason as the rope, except it's no good for stringing people up. Long-range walkie-talkies. Do not expect that cell phones or conventional phones are going to work when this shit hits the fan. You need to devise other forms of communication. Dental floss and toothpicks. There's nothing worse than having some shit stuck in your teeth when you're trying to concentrate on putting holes in people. Toothbrush. Always good to have good hygiene. Toothpaste. You want the stuff without the fluoride, such as Tom's of Maine or whatever your local health food store sells. A shaving razor. The razor and any other hygienic products are merely so you can keep high morale, although you may also want to change your appearance or maintain your appearance just in case you need to move through occupied territory and pretend to be a non-combatant civilian. Actually, this is important. Shaving is also to ensure that a gas mask will fit properly against your face. You need to make sure the mask is flush against your skin and that you can get suction if you hold your hand over the filter's breathing hole. Mess kit. A military mess kit should include some type of metal bowl, possibly some metal cup that you can heat food up in, as well as a collapsible knife, fork, and spoon. Metal cup or other container. This is for boiling water so you can safely drink it. Iodine. This is for treating water so you can safely drink it. Especially useful if it isn't practical to light a fire and give your position away. Tums, or some other type of antacid. The last thing you want is a bad case of heartburn when you're in the middle of trying to gut some son of a bitch. Gas masks and gas mask filters. Notice I said gas masks. That's plural. You want one for you and an extra one, at least at bare minimum, which will either come in handy as your extra or as one that you can pass off to your